can be transferred from the command control center to the vessel, or from the vessel to the command control center, so that it will be sent to all the users and operators within no time. And rescue operation will be taken place with the help of the high-speed rescue boat stationed at 12 places uh, en route this particular waterway. That is being implemented in the KMA area of 120 kilometer within the Calcutta area. Subsequently, in phase 2, it will be extended to the other waterways within the state of West Bengal over a period of 5 to 6 years. These are the part of the means equipment used for the river information system. This is already implemented in the NW1 area, that is from the Sagar up to Varanasi in 2 phases. It was already implemented. These are the equipment which is used for that thing. I will just skip these things. So what is just giving in the river information system? So we people have just went to the Netherlands for studying all those things, and after that only it was implemented. I was there while implementing the first phase of river information system between Sagar and Farakka. So these are the informations which can be given under an RIS. Fairway information services, as I told, if anything is there to the marine, means the master of the vessel, it can be transmitted from the control center to those people. Traffic information, what all type of the traffic, whether it is passenger traffic, cargo, cruise, or anything it is there, that details will be given. All the vessels which is traveling under that particular area will be registered, and certain format are there that is to be mandatorily registered with before taking voyage of that particular vessel. Then information on the transport logistic, calamity abatement, statistic data, then waterway charges and other dues, all those things will be transmitted through this particular system. These are the certain picture is this thing. This only I have initially mentioned where it is implemented now and what is which is going to be implemented in the next 2 or 3 years. These are being implemented by the IWA for the national waterways. The other things what I have mentioned, it is proposed in the KMA area between Tribeni and Nurpur of Kolkata area. This is a long-term perspective of e-navigation. It is a combination of the RIS as well as the intelligence system of transport, which is being implemented by the IWA as well as West Bengal government. If everything is converted to digital, and if a centralized monitoring system is in place, then effective and hassle-free navigation will be possible. This is already there to a certain extent in the developed countries like US, UK, and Germany. If we are implementing it in a phased manner in India, the future of India inland waterways will be very bright, and it will be a green and sustainable mode of transportation in future. So in just the conclusion is like that, hydrographic survey or the bathymetric survey is the base of all kind of studies of inland waterways as well as for the marine studies. So the information what you are collecting, if it is accurate and in a time bound manner, then only it can be used in the better way. Then with the e-navigation in place, the effectiveness, sustainability, and the green effect of navigation will be much more. And in the coming years, we can hope that with the government Vikasit Bharat concept and other thing, this system will be in place in a phased manner with the 2030 in place and 2047 in place. Let us hope that India as well as Orissa and all the coastal states will have a better inland waterways and e-navigation system in place. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Prashant Nair. We will go to our third speaker. The topic is on training requirements for the inland water transportation. And the speaker is Dr. Captain Inderveer Solanki. So I'd give a brief introduction. So Dr. Captain Inderveer Solanki is a master mariner with a post-graduation degree in maritime affairs from the World Maritime University, Malmö, Sweden, and PhD in naval architecture from Indian Maritime University, Chennai. So he has commanded ocean-going ships for over 10 years. He worked for 15 years as Vice President, Applied Research International Private Limited, and led the development of human resource for the merchant, marine, and inland waterways transportation sector. He has conceptualized and executed several pilot projects on multimodal transportation with inland waterways and transport on national waterways, and he has about 5 years of filed research on maneuverability of inland vessels on riverine waterways. So he has assisted the state governments and Inland Waterway Authority of India in drafting the rules, regulations, and policies for IWT sector. So he has worked on the World Bank funded Jal Marg Vikas project, JMVP, for augmentation of capacity of the Ganga Bhagirathi river systems, that is National Waterway 1 of IWAI. At present, he is a managing director of the Springs Professional Services Private Limited, STC consultant to the World Bank on waterway projects, and is a project director of the National Inland Navigation Institute. So he is the honorable chairman of the Nautical Institute, the India branch, a member of the Society of Naval Architecture and Marine Engineering, USA and Japan. He is also a member of Frost and associate member of the Insurance Institute of India. So I welcome Dr. Solanki. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Bhaskaran sir. Thanks for the kind words and introduction. The topic of my discussion this afternoon is training requirements for inland water transportation sector, because I've been involved in training for last, you can say, quarter of a century with maritime education as well as inland water transportation education. So we'll talk about, since I am the project director of National Inland Navigation Institute, so we'll discuss what is our vision, what we plan. And since National Inland Navigation Institute is an institute that has been set up by Inland Waterways Authority of India, that is the competent authority under the new IV Act to implement training policies across India, basically prescribing courses, guidelines, and the competence requirement across the country so that it gets standardized. Henceforth, so NINI plays a role in developing the training for inland water transport sector across the country. What is IWT sector? Training needs for the IWT sector, some career paths, because earlier the act before that, IV Act of 1917, did not have any training requirement or with regards to inland vessels. Then alternative training schemes and future plans. So NINI is looking to develop a network of reputed international level center of excellence for inland water transportation. So what is the plan is, the proposal has been put in, which is a draft proposal, that there will be 8 numbers of center of excellences across the country that will come up, and proposal of that has been already submitted to the central government. And the vision is to develop an ecosystem to meet the technical research and training needs of the inland water transportation. As we are talking of green technologies, so human you can say resource is the core of implementing this technology. Unless until the technology is properly implemented, we cannot drive the benefit which we want to achieve if they are not properly trained, as well as the need for research. We've seen including the green technology is in a, you can say, developing stage, in a continuous developing stage. So therefore, there's need for research in the IWT sector, and that's why need for center of excellence is across the country. Now, the training per se, when we say IWT sector, because in the IWT sector, there is a shortage of trained manpower, not only for operation of vessels, but also for developing the waterways, as well as expertise in management of the waterways across the country, especially when initially when we look at in 2016, there were only 5 national waterways. After the bill of 2016, 106 additional waterways were added. So today we have 111 national waterways, out of which 23 are functional and in the development stage. So therefore, there is a acute requirement for the manpower, but the problem is how do we attract them? So to attract them, then we need to have proper policies, career paths in place, and that's where this basically Bloom's taxonomy comes in place, where we have to ensure that there is not only training, it is also education, and the development of human resource becomes the key for attracting that manpower, which can actually also, there is a lateral entry at the senior management and strategic management levels as well. Training is basically, you can say, short-term task to perform work to perform certain tasks, specific tasks, whereas education is a comparatively lifetime requirement, where one wants academic excellence as well as also to be, you can say, higher up in the society or for the research purposes. And the development is any human resource would want his career to be developed, and with this career the other development takes place. This is the sector. When we talk of sectors, as I told you, that 111 national waterways, out of which 23 have been identified and they are functional, and 16 are, you can say, operational with the movement of large quantities of cargo. Now, the other project which the government of India has come out with is Harit Nauka project, under which by 2047, about 1,000 inland vessels are to be basically, you can say, converted to green vessels, and the government is likely to provide funds for that vessel. Hydrogen fuel cell vessel is already presently in Varanasi, going under trials, so it will get, you can say, commissioned shortly. So the government of India with its Harit Nauka project is actually getting the green technology in place, whereby NINI has come out with the training programs on battery powered vessels and also hydrogen powered vessels. So those programs have been approved by the PSL Frost and also by IMU, and eventually approved by the competent authority. This is the IWT wing, where we are looking for training, you can say, different wings of inland water transport, looking at finance, technical, going from hydrographic, mechanical, marine, civil engineering aspects, then management aspects, and the vessel operations aspect. And you can say the training requirement is across all levels. This is the training requirements, how we have actually sectorized the sector in different these segments or disciplines. Accordingly, the courses are being developed, where the courses which are being developed are, you can say, short term, medium term, and long term, as well as we have some courses which are called induction courses and some short skill courses that are under development. Now, key changes, why all this is happening is basically what has stimulated this or put into, you can say, motion this aspect of training in the IWT sector is the Inland Vessel Act 2021. Before this act, there was no training requirement even for vessel crew. The vessel crew could be just, can say, examined, and that also only oral examination was required, and on basis of which they would be able to get their certificate of competence. But with the IV Act, now the training is mandatory. And at present, there are total 12 number of standard courses that have been approved by the competent authority by going through the process. That includes the 5 basic safety courses, then preparatory courses to get certificate of competencies, induction courses, that is GP rating course presently, and the IV cadet scheme that will be also coming in near future, as well as lateral entry schemes into the sector. So, and for the existing crew, there is a conversion course which so that the existing crew is also trained and is competent. Now, what this change will bring is not only you can say improvement in performance and efficiency in the IWT sector, but it will also improve mobility of the crew. The crew wages will improve, eventually their performance will improve, and we'll be able to attract talented youth to the sector, because which was not the case earlier. In fact, Nini, when I started in 2022, we had only 8 students in the campus. Today we have 100 students in campus. So reason is basically we are introducing these new schemes, new courses, and providing them a career path. So unless until there's a career path, the talent would not come to the sector. And so this is where the IV Act and the standardization has put in effect the, you can say, manpower of IWT sector in motion. This is the development plan which we have actually planned for Nini. And on this plan, the development of Central of Excellences also will happen. Initially, we are looking at mainly, you can say, IV Act and IV rules, because that has just come in. Where we are, as I said, that these courses are already in place, running, and the guidelines also for approval of training institutes have been framed. They are in the process of basically being notified. So it's in a process whereby the private training institutes will be also able to have, as in case of the DG Shipping approved institute, so similar things will happen. Then we have transition courses for the crew, whereby one can transit from IV to river sea vessel, from river sea vessel to near coastal vessel, and to ocean going vessel. Also, we are in discussion with European countries, whereby the COC, which is you can say obtained in India, can be recognized, or there is a bridging course whereby the crew trained in India can have some sort of relaxation when they go for a European inland COC. And then, as I said, that we also like to introduce the academic aspect of it. So eventually these programs will be linked to diploma programs and subsequently to degree programs also, and certain you can say segments or sectors will also have the research in that. Nini also, under the 2047 Amrit Kal Maritime Vision, is our national incubation center under the vision. So therefore, there's a plan for development of Nini as an incubation center, whereby innovation, research, etc. can happen at Nini, and the center of excellences that will come across the country. Now, how do we go ahead? Whereby we are talking of, earlier there was hardly any training, and there was just, you can say, providing only IWT sector, and just 2022, 8% on in the campus. So the process is basically we are affiliating, associating, collaborating with the institutes of repute, and there's a plan whereby it is basically timeline plan where we are doing it. We are also getting, wherever required, the DG Shipping approval of the courses, and the facilitation by Nini of the different states. As I speak, we are presently conducting courses in 5 states, Odisha, West Bengal, in Andamans, then in Karnataka, and Assam. So we are conducting these courses and facilitating the activities in these states, and eventually it will, you can say, going further into other states as well. Now the career paths have been developed. As earlier it was only purely IV sector which was, you can say, isolated. Now we have also gone into, like BSF has got a water wing. So the Nini trained student can enter as a constable in the water wing at initial stage itself. But if he wants to enter at higher level, then he has to obtain his first COC, and then he can get at head constable. And after second COC, he can get at sub inspector level. So that means for a 10th pass student, he can actually enter into BSF water wing here. Also, there is a link which has been provided through DG shipping notification, whereby he can actually work on reverse vessel, and from reverse vessel he can actually upgrade his path to near coastal vessel. So that also has been provided, as well as to work on in the dredging sector as a dredge control operator or as a dredge master. This is the inland vessel to ocean going direct also. In fact, for the engine rating, for as far as deck rating is concerned, for deck rating, because the navigation aspect changes, but is whether regards to engines there is a change, but you can say little change. Therefore, at engine level it is required the entry is you can say faster, and that's where the route is provided here. Directly after the first COC, he can go at the on an ocean going vessel in engine rating, and he can move ahead. This is the AV cadet rating scheme, where he can basically be absorbed into different disciplines of the sector and get diplomas, degrees, and so that this is the alternative training scheme, where we are looking at the ITI trained manpower to enter into the sector, so that the skill gap or the manpower gap is basically filled up. With this, thank you. Any questions I can take offline? I think we are running a little short of time. Thank you.
So thank you, Captain Devir Solanki, and we will go to the final talk of this session number 1. So the topic is on a vibrant inland navigation system for regional connectivity and better initiatives in the Eastern South Asia, that is Bhutan, Bangladesh, India, especially the East and Northeastern region and Nepal. And the talk is by Mr. Subhakar Dandapat. So firstly, I'd like to give a brief introduction. So Mr. Subhakar Dandapat completed his BTech honors in naval architecture from IIT Kharagpur and MSc in ship production and technology from the Strathclyde University, UK. So he is an expert on inland navigation and a naval architect, and currently associated with the World Bank Group and the United States Agency for International Development for the greening of inland fleets in India and Bangladesh, as well as the implementation of the World Bank sponsored project on IWT in Bengal for strengthening the ferry and freight services on River Hooghly in the Calcutta metropolitan area with the required infrastructures. So Mr. Dandapat has commenced his career at Hindustan Shipyard Limited and superannuated from the Inland Waterways Authority of India. And as a post-retirement assignments, he has provided consultancy services to the Adani Port and SEZ Private Limited, the Hove Engineering Project Private Limited, for the execution of the World Bank funded project JMVP on NWI, and Mrs. Scuts International Limited. So with this brief introduction, I just welcome Dandapat.
Good afternoon. Next. Hi. It's not there. No, no, it's not there. Sorry. हाँ? ये actually the cost of energy that must have been interchanged. Yeah, that should have been go to the next one. Yeah, that is, I don't know. I have not seen it. Next next session में देखिए ना. Next session में देखिए उसमें हो सकता है. That was not. No, no,